with whatever we're doing. It means knowing what you are doing. So if it was brushing your teeth or just breathing or feeling your hand on the chest and feeling the breath, it means showing up fully in that moment. It's being simply mindful. And today we'll talk a bit more about what happens to the body when we are experiencing stress. When we are experiencing all the external things that happen in our life, what happens to the physiological nature of our body? And how can mindfulness impact that? So, as a refresher, there's many ways that we can experience mindfulness. We have innate mindfulness just as we are humans, and we have ways that we interact with each other based on experiences in our life, lived experiences. There's an actual mindfulness sitting meditation that can be challenging, but sometimes it's just sitting for moments and having that anchor, that breath, just noticing what's happening in your body, kind of a check-in. And today's practice, as we near the end of our talk, will be a body scan. That's a mindfulness practice where we'll scan the entire body. We will go from part to part, just checking in, noticing sensation, noticing feelings or not feelings, noticing thoughts or emotions. So as we're all differently abled bodies, we may have pain associated or something else associated if I bring up foot or knee or back. So it's just about being with whatever you're feeling in that moment. And it's very directed. It's present, and there's no judgment. So as I direct us through this practice of mindfulness and we move through the body, we just go from one directed point, showing up and feeling it, being there, experiencing it, and with non-judgment. And to recap again, this practice that we're learning, what we're talking about, is managing what happens kind of with the science of our body, what happens with the neuroscience of our brain. We tend to go into autopilot a lot in our life, where we have a stimulus, which is anything external, really. It could be perceived or not perceived. It could be something that is a threat that our body notices or maybe perceives as a threat. The emotion that follows that, and then our automatic response that we don't have control over. Like when someone cuts us off while we're driving, we react. And what we're learning is how we can break that emotional quick reaction. When we see the stimulus, we may have a slight emotion, but we have this ability to pause, to be in that moment, directed and present. And then we're able to have a conscious reaction. So if the person cuts us off, okay, we can manage that. We can say, you know what, not a big deal. I'm safe. We're all getting in the same place. We're all in the same traffic, whatever it might be. And so we look at what is actually happening in the body. So when we're experiencing a threat outside of our body, we have a fantastic system that is set up to manage all the things, to kind of keep us in a state of calm and homeostasis, but then also react when we're supposed to react. And it's called the autonomic nervous system. If any of you are in the medical field, you're pretty familiar with this. It's a balance. We need both of these within our life to be able to survive. The challenge is that in our daily lives, normal stressors from our work, our family, our economic, our health situations kind of set our body off into this fight or flight when that would normally be reserved for very serious threats to our life, right? Where if we were being, threatened physically or emotionally harmed. But the stressors of emails and social media or families or other things also turn on that same reaction within the body. So when we are overstressed, overstimulated, many things going on, our body reacts in a sympathetic nervous system. It reacts by turning this on because there is a perceived threat, and it activates that fight or flight that we talk about a lot. And then this entire cascade happens within the body. The blood flow decreases, your digestion, so that's why we can have stomach issues, upset stomach, nervous stomach, whatever that feeling or reaction is, it can linger. Our muscles get, the blood flow sends to them, they get kind of contracted and tight in our shoulders. All those things we can feel it in our body, the blood pressure, the heart rate, quick fire response in the brain, fast reactions, stress hormones, glucose. And it's not your fault. It's the way the brain is built, the way the body system is set up to support you. But what we really want to do is turn on the parasympathetic nervous system. That's the one that kind of keeps the thermometer at that cool place, calm, cool, collected, where your body is set for this rest and digest. So that's how you kind of can understand the rest and digest versus the fight or flight. And all these other things, it's this opposite. Our blood pressure begins to drop, the heart rate begins to kind of lower. All these things are able to happen, this actual physical response in the body. Stress hormones, glucose. That's why we talk about stress can cause disease or leads to disease. Because of, when you look at this breakdown, this is a big part of why that can build up and why that can happen. And so it's our duty to be able to evaluate, to look at what are our options, what are the things that we can do to kind of overcome this fight or flight reaction, this overextended self, the burnout, just kind of being pulled in too many directions, or being chased by a cougar while you're going for a walk in Utah. Both of these things we have to balance ourselves out, and we can do that, and there's ways that we can begin to incorporate that into our life. And it doesn't need to be dramatic. The simple exercise of a deep, full breath. When you inhale, you fill your lungs, you hold for a second, and then you exhale. Let's do this for one moment together. You can either anchor your hand on your chest, or you can just sit there, eyes open or closed, taking a full inhale through the nose, holding for a second or so at the top, and a very relaxed exhale. A few more. And one more. And as you finish your last breath, I'll share, why does this work? It's actually a physiological reason. Because this deep, long inhalation expands your bronchioles, these passageways in your lungs, to the tiny alveoli where oxygen enters the blood and carbon dioxide leaves it. The parasympathetic nervous system is in charge of this, constricts the bronchioles, so it makes them swell up with this big breath, and you trigger this response. You trigger to bring them back to their resting size, this calming. So we trick our bodies into calming down. We can control ourselves when we're in a state of panic or anxiety or stress or just annoyed. Take a deep breath. Yawning, the actual act of yawning, which makes me want to do it now that I talk about it. It's taking that deep breath in, and you hold at the top. And it's that relaxation and release after. There's other ways that we can activate this, and this has been researched, and many studies have been done. So through physical touch, massage therapy, exercise, acupuncture, think about what's happening during these periods of time. In exercise, the oxygen that's moving, the blood that's flowing, the yoga, that kind of present moment, the cutting down on media, so you're stopping that overstimulation. Time in nature allows us to just be, when we go for a walk or we're spending time with our animals, pets, our children. They tend to pull us into the moment because besides, if you have a dog waiting for its next treat or its next pet, it's pretty much in the moment. And children are really good at reminding us how to be in our moment. And these do trigger our ability to enter into that present state. And the breath is the easiest one, and the one that I will always recommend, that if a sitting meditation is not your practice, even for 5 minutes, having a breath practice is important. Numerous studies have been done all around the world, and what they'll all tell you is there is a striking change for those that create a habit, some sort of daily habit, 5 minutes a day. As you see in blue, some of the highlights are you're spending your time and throughout your day, maybe not connected, wandering mind, all of these things. Training can bring about some peace of mind, change relationships, create resiliency, and actually impact your health, your physical health, lowering your cortisol, blood pressure, gut issues. And then we can think about the impacts that it has on our personal lives. When we are in a clear state of mind in this calm space, we can see the increase in these really important areas in our life that bring about joy, fulfillment, and will improve and strengthen, like I said, our physical, our mental, and emotional. And when those are in balance, we can find a little bit of peace in between all of the challenging things that we do together in this world. Some other research that has been done has showed that a practice of mindfulness can help us with habits that maybe we don't like. It helps us become aware of our habits, aware of our anxieties, our stressors, and it doesn't solve things, right? This isn't a solution or a fix, or should always be partnered with whatever your health physician and other practitioners of help for health in general recommend, but it really does help the outcome of whatever you're working with and can influence you in many ways with the people around you, your relationships. It's one of the number one things that in my years of practicing mindfulness and meditation, I have found the greatest impact in my relationships. My ability to listen, my awareness of when my feelings arise because things happen in my environment. And so instead of reacting to my environment, I have an awareness that I am reacting to my environment. I'm feeling a sort of way, good or bad, but I'm allowed to have a feeling. And so awareness is our first step to making change in our life. And it's how we can better show up for the people in our lives, better show up for our work. There's plenty of people that have had, challenges and difficulties in working environments as you just navigate and you learn to be more aware of the people around you. So, how do we build this habit? Well, the first is showing up like you did today, setting your intention. Reflecting on the good. What good happened today? So when you're having a rough time and it's hard to be in the moment, can you just reflect on one good thing you're experiencing? It typically sets you into this moment together. Always prioritizing. And like we talk about letting go of judgment. So if you begin a practice after today, Maybe you do 5 minutes tomorrow and you don't do anything on Saturday or Sunday. That's okay. Because you know what? You can always start again. I will share this presentation with Karen and Bridget and make sure that everyone has access to this. There was a lot of research on there, Sarah, and additional information that I think everyone will find helpful and resources. So we're going to use this time to transition. And also leave you with this thought of using transitions in your life. So when you transition from waking to starting your day, when you're transitioning from your evening activities to going to bed, you can use that as a trigger to do something mindful. You know, if it's your bedtime routine, brushing your teeth, a good transition time is when you are finishing maybe your responsibilities, if it's work or family, before you transition to something else, pausing for one moment, being with that breath. So now's our time to transition. Wherever you are, begin to find yourself in a comfortable position, seated, laying down, whatever fits you and your body. If you'd like to place a hand on your abdomen or chest, you're welcome to, if that helps keep you connected to your breath. And just start to notice the inhale and the exhale moving through the chest. Eyes closed or soft gaze. And maybe connecting with what your intention was for showing up this evening. And is there one good thing that you can recall from your day? Then begin to bring awareness as we work with our mindfulness practice of just placing awareness. When you hear me say feet, just sensing anything you might feel or any thought that might cross your mind, just being fully aware of what's going on in the brain, what's going on in the body. So begin to feel the feet, whatever they're connected to. The floor, chair, the fabric of your socks or shoes, your bare feet. What do you sense? Traveling up to the shins and the calves, just sensing in this area. Maybe you feel fabric of your clothes, maybe you feel nothing. And just being there, present. The front and the back of the knees. If any of these places cause pain for you or anything arises, just noticing and then letting it go. Coming back to the breath if you need. And the thighs, the top of the thighs and the back of the thighs, if you're connected to a chair or anything you're in contact with there. Can you feel the weight of your body being pulled down by gravity? the low back and the hips. Maybe if the space causes tension for you, just being there with it. Not upset with it, not asking it to leave, but just kind of sensing it as its wholeness, whatever it is for you. Placing our awareness in the abdomen. This is a space that has so much to tell us, right? It tells us when we're full, when we're hungry, when we're nervous, anxious, when we're tired sometimes. It can tell us we're not feeling well. Just kind of tune in to what's going on in this kind of core center of you. Can you feel the breath moving in this abdomen, expanding the lungs? Maybe the pressure of the full breath and the relaxation. Feeling the mid and the upper back. Noticing if you might be gripping and holding the shoulders upwards or tensing. Just noticing. The shoulders and the upper arms. The forearms and the wrists. Both hands and all the fingers, really seeing if you can sense. You feel the air in the room, the temperature from the flesh of the hands. All these nerve endings. Raising the awareness to the neck and the throat area. As you breathe in, just sensing what you can feel in that space. All the muscles around the jaw. The chin. The lips. The cheeks. The eyes and the eyebrow. And resting our awareness on the nose and watching and feeling the air come in and out of the space for our last moment in stillness. Any temperature or sensation as you breathe in. Now begin to feel your entire body as one whole being in a room, just feeling the entirety of yourself. As you breathe in, feeling that breath move through the whole body. And imagining all those processes, the heart rate slowing down, the body settling into this cool, calm, collected state. The mind and the body are directly connected, and we have the ability to learn how to bridge them. Not to control, but to assist and support. So begin to bring movement now to the body in any way that feels good to you. And taking a deep breath in together through the nose. And a big exhale out through the mouth. Big through the nose. And out through the mouth. And of course my video started working now that we are wrapping up our practice together. But I will encourage you as we finish our time this evening is to think about a transition in your life that occurs throughout your day where you could possibly take a moment to just check in with what you're feeling. If that's a quick scan as you lay down in bed, if that's a quick scan as you wake up in the morning to just check in on yourself and have a few breaths. Maybe it is checking in and brushing your teeth, or really showing up when you're in company with others. So as we transition here this evening, taking one more mindful breath together. Thank you for showing up in community. There'll be 2 more sessions on Thursday evenings. The recordings will be also available through your same connection, and I really hope that you're able to find some practice. Thank you, Bridget, for your help today. The link is in the chat. On the calendar, you'll find the future events, and I hope to see you all, or I wish you all the best in your continued practice. So until I see you again, have a wonderful evening and take care of yourself.